Hi everyone, I am going to go over the training for CogAT. So this is only for our veterans. If you are a brand new facilitator, you need to do this training in person as there is quite a bit that goes into there. So this is just for my veterans. Okay, so for our agenda for here, if you have questions, but it's only in certain areas, we have added links that go to the different ones. So let's say you have questions about barcode and you want to come in and look. If you click here, it'll take you into the presentation about barcodes. I got that suggestion from Amanda Schmidt. She was very nice to come in and work with me, and we kind of retooled the training a little bit with some of her suggestions. So thank you, Amanda. So starting to plan, you guys know that you need to send out your email or your blast, whatever it is, or however you usually communicate with families, to tell them about the universal and referral testing. All that information came out from with Natasha in that email that came out a few days ago. You want to make sure you talk to your teachers about referrals. Many of you have already done this, and many of you have already done it from last year. So I'm thinking you're going to be ahead of the game. When you submit your numbers, do not pad your numbers. We don't have enough every time for everybody to pad them. But if you do run out or need extra, your leads will have extra, and they'll be in your area, so you can get them from your lead. Also, the other thing that we have added is we want to make sure that you are in contact with your SAC. So they are working on a lot of different accommodations for students, for testing, for all kinds of things, iReady, CMAS, all of that. So they're going to be a big help to you when you're looking at accommodations and names of students. I'm guessing that they probably already have a spreadsheet that has all their information and what accommodations they need. That is very helpful, because then what you can do is you can just copy and paste from there over to the new one. It was a great suggestion from Amanda. You want to make sure you create your schedule and then, of course, train those teachers. So our universal testing, grades 3 and 5, 6, whatever is the last one in elementary school. And then our referrals are 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. We are also added this year kindergarten. So in the past, we have been a little bit more hesitant with those little itty bitties, but we want to make sure that that parents understand what's going on. So it could be a conversation with the parents if they ask about it. I would just go ahead and tell them about the identification process, also that how long it takes just because they're little, all of the information that came out in Natasha's email with those talking points on there. For your test numbers, go ahead and use this Google form and turn it into us by August 26th. That is that Monday. The sooner the better on that day. Christina has about a day turnaround to get that all set and ready for us to get materials for you guys. Okay, test levels. All of this is the same. You guys know all of this. Think age. Now, if you do have kindergartners that have been referred and the parents understand the process and they have still requested it, that's great. What we do is we give them the first grade, so level 7. So if you do have a kindergartner request, go ahead and add that to your numbers for grade 1. Okay, here's our estimated times for grade 1, just because there isn't a time limit, so that's an estimate. Same with grade 2. For 3rd grade and up, these are the times that it takes, 10 minutes for each section, but make sure that you have enough time to read the directions, to hand out materials, make sure afterwards that their bubbling is cleaned up, time to turn in, that type of thing. Sample schedules, I'm guessing most of you already have a sample schedule. We do not suggest doing the CogAT all in one day. We know that's not best practice. So if you have one each day, like 3 days in a row, or even just throughout 2 days, you can do that. And give yourself enough time for those makeups. Accommodations. So again, find your SAC. So you're going to talk to them. You also want to partner with your special education teachers, 504 contact, ELD teachers to determine who needs those accommodations. You need to decide as a team what that looks like and who needs what. I am going to have the accommodation spreadsheet from last year. I'm just going to add a new tab for you this year. And if they're new, then I will share it with them. But that way you have it and you can see how you did it last year as well. So students who are on an IEP or 504, I want you to look at that on a case-by-case basis to determine what accommodations they might be. If it is not appropriate for the student to take the CogAT, and this could be for various reasons, this could be that maybe the student just had a WISC, maybe it's a student who's in an affective needs program and is not in a good place right now to take it, or it wouldn't give us any additional information. You can make that decision with the team, and the team includes the parents. So please don't say, oh no, they don't need to take the CogAT and that's it. Make sure you include parents in this decision. Sometimes parents want them to take it so they look like the rest of the students. There's a lot of different things at play. So make sure it's the team making that decision. You can use this excusal form for the parents to fill out saying that they don't want them to take the CogAT or the team has decided. Okay. So here's some of the allowable accommodations. This is also in the direction books as well. I know that's kind of a tricky one. You're always not sure. So you can always look that up in the direction books. Okay. So all of these areas, it doesn't impact their scoring. So it's just for informational purposes. So all these different ones. And again, for accommodations, they need to be on an IEP or 504 to have this. The only one that you don't need to have that for is to test individually or in small groups. This could be for various reasons. If they have anxiety, if they're a behavior problem, it might disrupt the rest of the class, if they focus better. This one you can use without it being on a plan, but everything else needs to be a part of their IEP or 504. So if you have those accommodations, just make sure you put them in that spreadsheet, and that is due September 27th, which is after the window. So you'll have some time afterwards to see who actually used the accommodations or who did not. Okay, test prep. We suggest very limited test prep. There are some items on the website that you can, well, actually the parents can use if they were interested, but really we just really want them to know how to bubble, how to take the test, that type of thing, not necessarily studying for it. It's cognitive, so it's not something you can study for, although we do have parents who go on the black market to look for different things. That's another video. Also, if they have trouble tracking, you can do the different things where you have like the ruler to help them or a piece of paper. Or some people put the sticky notes on all the areas that are not being used at the time. Make sure your teachers are actively proctoring, just because we get a lot of things that come back. Something's messed up, they didn't finish. So we just need them to make sure that they're proctoring and taking it seriously. Material distribution. So when you get all the materials, the person who is giving the test and the test administrator, so that might be you if you're doing small group, or most likely it's the teacher doing their whole class. They're going to get the directions, CogAT test booklets, and their answer sheets. You'll also have the grade class identification sheet, but that's the one that you fill out. Students get the booklet, and if they're in 3rd grade and above, they also get an answer sheet. You will have the overage of CogAT booklets, answer sheets, and the directions, and the building identification sheet. Last year we ran out of directions and did not have enough. We know now that we discovered through that process is that the directions are online in your Riverside account. So you can sign into Riverside, and in the resources, they will have the directions for different levels. So if you only get 4 and you need 5, go ahead and just print it out and use it. Because it's there as a resource, it's okay to do that. Okay, and you'll get your packing slip. As soon as you get your materials, make sure right away that you're checking everything first. It's a lot easier to get you guys materials at the beginning than it is as it gets closer or during. So please check that out, and let your office staff and custodian know that if this is being delivered to your school, that it's coming. We have had cases where people said, I never got it. And then they go and they found it in the back of some closet or something because that's where the office staff put it. So just double check. If you need to pick up your materials early, you can come on Wednesday, August 28th, and just fill out this form. So this should be used sparingly. If you really are doing it that first week of September 3rd, you're going to need them early. And that's okay. So if you need to, that's fine. Pickups are going to be this time from 2 to 3 o'clock at the warehouse door. Do not park by the door. I want you to be able to park in a parking spot, and then you can come up to us. We'll have all those dollies that you can then take out to your car. If you have some kind of a medical issue going on, like maybe a hurt back or something like that where you need help, please ask us and we will help. Charters, check your delivery date. Not many charters pay to have delivery from warehouse or mail from the warehouse, so check. If that's the case, figure out what day they're coming. And if not, I would suggest you picking it up on that Wednesday. Okay, barcode labels. So they have been ordered, and those barcode labels are again for 3rd, 5th, and 6th grade, only for our universal. When you should bubble is if they're being referred in one of the other grades, if they're new, if their barcode gets damaged, or if you just don't have a barcode. That could be for various reasons, where if they didn't have their birthday in IC, things like that. So if you don't have a barcode for them, just bubble it. You need to bubble all grade and class sheets, and of course the building sheet. Okay, please put the barcode labels on before administering the test. We don't want them getting switched out or messed up. So do that before handing them to the teachers. For scoring purposes, they will only scan the label or the bubbles, not both. So just an FYI. And again, this is how you put them on. Okay, there too. And troubleshooting. So if something happens to it, most likely what we're going to probably say is just go ahead and shred it and bubble. That's pretty much what's going to happen. Okay, student information sheets. So you guys have filled these out quite a bit. This is if you're hand coding or hand bubbling. If they're on the label, you don't need to do any of this. Okay, make sure the birth date's accurate and that it's a 10-digit SACID score or SACID number. Not their lunch number, their state number. Okay. Also, when you're writing in where that we are in the system, always put Castle Rock, even if you're in any of the other regions. You guys know what these look like. 7 and 8, those are on the back of the booklet, so you don't have a separate sheet for those. So level 9 for 3rd grade is the orangish one. And then for 4th grade and above, it's this blue one. Okay. If you are bubbling and you are doing 4th and above, so that would be your 4th graders, maybe 5th graders for referral, or if you're just bubbling because of other reasons, you need to make sure that you do it either for 4th grade, 5th grade, or 6th grade. Again, this is just bubbling. If you have a barcode for that student, you do not need to worry about this. Okay, here's your class sheet. We always pick one date because we need just one date. So we've been doing September 12th for a while, and that works for us. So make sure you put in September 12th, 2019. And then again down here, just make sure you put in the 4-digit 00 and then the number of students. You don't want it going through as 2,600 students. Okay. Again, all grade and class ID sheets need to be bubbled in. Okay. If you have, for your referrals, you can use one class sheet per grade level and just use your name for yourself and your students. That way you don't have to do multiple class ID sheets. Let's say for 2nd grade, for all students in the different classes, you just use yours and put it all under one. Okay, and the building one, make sure September 12th, and again, Castle Rock. Okay, returning materials. This shows you how to do it on the back of the bubble sheets anyways. You have your building sheet, and then the class sheet, students' names, class sheet, students' class you, and so on. I would suggest 2 things from your teachers. Make sure that they return it to you in alphabetical order. That will help you a lot with making sure everything's ready, that you have all of them, and that they're turned in. So if they're not in alphabetical order, I would give it back to them. But when you're just doing the training, tell them that. And then also make sure that they are filling in the bubbles correctly, and that they're not turning them to you when they're barely even marked. So they should be telling the students that and double checking that. But then if they come to you and there's a student who's barely even filled in the bubbles, give that back to the teacher to do, because you can't stay up that late. You have plenty of other things to do, and the student can go back and fill in their bubbles, obviously with somebody there so they're not changing answers. Okay. When you return them in the same boxes that they went out in. Put them in stacks of 20. That helps us. And then if you are able to put them in a full box, we ask that 100 at most put them in a box. There's some that have like 120, but most are 100. So just make sure you're careful counting those as you put them in the box, because we don't have time to open the hundreds and look. And we don't want somebody else to not get the correct amount for the next year. Okay. Keep your unanswered answer sheets separate, because we'll use those. If anything's damaged, test booklets, answer sheets, save those, give them to us, and we have a giant shred pile that we'll put them in. If there is a mistake on the CogAT, usually it's from the bubbling. If it's from Infinite Campus, we will help with that and pay for that fee. But if it comes from the bubbling, and usually it's the birth date, if the birth date is wrong and it needs to be rerun, that's at a cost of $52 to the school. So basically think about it. If it's the school's mistake, they pay. If it's our mistake, we will pay. That information and how to do that, who to call, the number, what to push, everything is on the CogAT page. Christina has laid that all out for you guys. Okay, and that's it. So if you need any help, make sure you look at this presentation and the website first for any answers. If you cannot find it in there, go ahead and ask your feeder lead. And if they aren't able to answer, they will move it up to us so that we can help you as well. So I hope this worked, and thank you.